What's up, everybody? Bills just keep on losing, but you keep coming back to watch these videos. For what reason, I'm not sure. Why do I even make these videos? I'm not sure. But if you want to talk Bills, anytime, you know where to come. You come to this YouTube channel. You go to my Twitter, because my handle is the same as my username, right about there, in that general proximity. That's my Twitter handle. Facebook, I'm Greg. Anytime, guys. Anytime. Anyway, the Bills lost to the Dolphins again. Appear to be on their way to a 9-game losing streak to end the season, which is just wonderful. We're amidst our second 7-game losing streak in as many seasons. So that's just wonderful. We went to 8 last year. Will it go to 8 this year? Let's discuss. But before we get to that, we'll reflect briefly on the Miami game because that's what we do. Fitzpatrick coming off one of his worst games, his worst game as a Bill against San Diego. Puts up some okay numbers, but a lot in garbage time. I thought he missed receivers again. I thought he played poorly again. The 3 interceptions were all his fault. Even the one that got deflected had no business being thrown because it was in triple coverage. The one Devontae Davis, he threw to Devontae Davis. The one that he missed on the slant to Johnson, I was standing there watching it like he's still going to throw this. Like I saw Johnson fall down, and I looked at Fitz, and I'm like, he's still going to throw this. And he did, and it got picked off. Spiller played all right. Scratch that. Spiller played really well. He looks very good, and it's very concerning to some Bills fans because we have Fred Jackson, who is, coming off this injury, who wants a new contract, who was, 4th in the league in rushing yards before his injury, something like that. And now you have Spiller, who's playing well. So now do you give your 30-year-old running back coming off a broken leg a new contract? Or do you go with Spiller, who's 23 or 4 years old and playing pretty well so far? Management's got some tough decisions. And like we've been talking about the past couple weeks, the way management has been going, making business decisions rather than football decisions, I don't know if Fred Jackson's the guy they look to, to extend, despite the fact that he is perfect. He's a perfect representation of this city, of the franchise, a perfect guy for your organization, and I just don't know if they're going to reward him. You look at guys like Aaron Williams, who's playing pretty well. I've seen him get beat a couple times, but he's still a rookie. But I think the way he's playing is encouraging. And I think that you might see McKelvin be gone after next year. And Florence, they're both free agents after next season. So they're probably gone. We'll just draft more corners. Even though Justin Rogers is playing all right, I'm very surprised with his play, especially in the kick return. He was very effective last week against Miami. Pretty much the only thing that was effective until the fourth quarter where Miami's up 17 and just not bothering. How do you let Reggie Bush run for 200 yards? Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place, but it's so sick of losing. So sick of losing. How do you let Reggie Bush run for over 200 yards? Can't make this stuff up. Not like the Dolphins did anything too inspiring in the first half. What was it, 13-7.5? Could have been 13-10. Dave Rayner misses a 24-yard field goal. Microcosm of the season, really. Our backup kicker misses a 24-yard field goal. And let me explain to you that that's a metaphor because we're playing with a lot of depth most of the season, which we have none of. And that is just a perfect representation of it, is not even at kicker. Do you have depth, even though you're only supposed to have one? It's been tough. No doubt about it. Keep saying the same things week after week because they just keep losing. What more is there to say? We got outplayed by the Dolphins. We're definitely going to go 1-5 in the division. There's no way we beat New England next week. Unless Belichick does it on purpose because he wants to screw us out of a better draft pick or something. I don't care. I want to win one of these games. Give me 6-10. I predicted 7-9 at the beginning of the season, but just can't take it anymore. Still going to stick through it. But that brings us to Tim Tebow. Who comes in on the eve of his birthday, more or less. That's a joke, if anybody gets it. And he's coming off a game that really wasn't his fault they lost. They allowed 41 points. He made a couple stupid plays. But other than that, I thought he played pretty well against New England. It relies heavily on their defense. However much Denver's defense shows up is how good they play. And I think they'll probably play pretty well against the Bills' offense, which has been stagnant. Last week was the first time I saw receivers getting frustrated with Fitz. And, I saw Derek Hagan do it once in a while, but Derek Hagan hasn't played there long enough. But when I saw Steve Johnson leaping for passes like this and missing them and coming down, what is that, Fitz? If the Bills cut Fitz by March 19th, they can void the rest of his contract and pay him $10 million. Is it something you do? I think it's something you got to consider if he doesn't do anything in these last two games to inspire you or to show you why he should get that contract. I think that's, 7 days into the new year. I think the new year starts March 12th as far as the NFL new year goes. We'll talk about that. But we get back to the Broncos, who have Von Miller, who really the Bills could absolutely use at this point. Again, no knock against Darius. Like him. Think he's going to be a good player. But the Bills are so desperate for a pass rusher right now. And Darius is doing his thing there in the middle. When Kyle Williams comes back, hopefully fully healthy, I think they might be a real dominant force in the middle of the defensive line, especially with a guy like Barnett back there. Shepard's coming along pretty well, we think, but we thought that about McKelvin too, and he seems to have regressed, if anything. Anyway, back to the Denver defense. Von Miller, great player. Elmas Dumerville, great player. Brian Dawkins, limited in practice, but I think he'll play. Age is like a fine wine, just gets better with age. But that's what it's gonna come down to. I watched the Broncos play offense and think how the Bills aren't gonna lose to these guys. I just don't get it. I don't get how this Tebow thing works. It just can't work long term. It can't. Look at all the quarterbacks that have essentially he's got to learn to throw, because look at all the quarterbacks who have essentially ran throughout their whole careers. Aside from Michael Vick, he seems to be the one exception to the rule. But and I guess you could say Steve Young, maybe. Culpepper, Cordell Stewart, Randall Cunningham was pretty good too. But the older these guys get, the more hits they take. And especially the way Tebow plays is completely different than the style of play of, like a Young or a Cunningham. It's not, if he's carrying the ball 20 times in a game sometimes, which he has, he's taking shots. And you're only young for so long. I don't care if you're a workout warrior or whatever. Eventually, these hits are going to catch up to you. And you're not going to be able to take them as you get older. So he's going to have to become a better passer, which I'm not going to put past the kid because clearly he is just so motivated to do so. And I don't know if he's going to be able to. Maybe he needs a veteran behind him pushing him. But right now what he's doing is working. I don't think they'll go very far in the playoffs. I don't see it working. But never know. If you run the ball a lot in the playoffs, that's what teams try to do. Clock control, ball control offense, run the ball, stop the run. That's how you succeed in the playoffs. So if the Broncos can do that, if they get to the playoffs, they might find success unless they run, like I said, a team like Brady. They're too good. Patriots are too good on offense. But Bills, Broncos, we talked about the Tebow offense. Talked about how Denver's pretty good on defense. We know how bad the Bills are on offense and defense. They can't stop the run. They allowed 200 to Reggie Bush. Please stop number 23 for the Broncos. I'm not even going to say his name, but he better get booed out of his mind again because I hate him. I loathe that man. That said, I don't see the Bills moving the ball very effectively. Why should I think they're going to? They've played like crap how many weeks in a row? 6 out of 7. They didn't play like too much crap against the Jets, but they've just played uninspired. They look beaten, and it's sad. It's not the kind of team that we deserve to see, in my opinion. And we've seen it now for 12 years. And it's finally growing on me. That the light is finally shining on me that I think we need new guys in the front office. I don't know if it's Ralph, because I don't know how many shots Ralph is calling, because let's face it, he's 93. So I think it's these business guys, Lidman, Brandon, maybe making these business decisions rather than football decisions. But what do I know? Look at me. I'm sitting here. There's my college degree right there, collecting dust. I'm making these videos. So if they're doing something right. Bills Broncos on Sunday. I think the Bills, I just can't picture them winning. I can't picture them losing to this team. But they probably will. 7 in a row. Friggin' right they're going to lose again. 16-13 Broncos. Broncos over the Bills. I think Broncos are going to run the ball with success. I think they'll stall in the red zone because the Bills seem to put the hammer down in the red zone sometimes. So, yeah, 16-13. Guys, we got one game to go after this. And then we go into our 12th off season without playoffs. I'm glad you guys stick through it. But I want you all to have a Merry Christmas. If you're going to the game, Merry Christmas Eve. Come by me, 221, 222. I'll be there. All right, guys? See you later. Go Bills.